If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. And if you're a new subscriber, or have just managed to stumble upon my channel, welcome to Alyssa. I have yet again reinvented my channel, now with a focus on mental health awareness and advocacy. Seeing that we're already in the midst of February means that we're in the midst of Eating Disorder Awareness Month. To honor this month, I wanted to describe to you guys the many types of eating disorders, along with sharing my own struggle with an eating disorder. I hope you find this video informative and helpful. So, let's just begin. As many of you know, eating disorders are a very destructive and serious mental illness. They cause thousands of deaths in the US alone every year. Last year, 20 million women and 10 million men reported to have a clinical eating disorder at some point in their life. The average age of sufferers for eating disorders continue to go lower and lower, 5 and 6-year-olds with a clinical eating disorder. It's so scary, and funding for treatment and research for eating disorders is very low. It doesn't seem to take a priority, and it doesn't seem to be talked about enough. That's the reason I'm making this video, to share with you guys the facts and hope that you guys can help me spread more awareness and lower the stigma around eating disorders. I'm going to start this video by discussing bulimia nervosa. Bulimia is categorized by frequent episodes of binging, which means eating a very large amount of food in a very short period of time, and then soon after a binge, people will participate in weight gain preventative strategies such as purging or vomiting, or excessively exercising to burn off all the calories they've just consumed. Bulimia nervosa does not have as high of a mortality rate as anorexia or EDNOS has, but it's nonetheless a very serious and destructive illness. It can cause major damage to the internal organs. Health concerns related to bulimia nervosa include rupturing the stomach or esophagus, heart palpitations or an irregular heartbeat caused by electrolyte imbalances, and tooth decay because the teeth are regularly exposed to the stomach acids after purging. Bulimia nervosa, like any other eating disorder and any other mental illness in general, is treatable, and I'll get into some specific treatment options towards the end of this video. Next, I'm going to be discussing binge eating disorder, which in this segment I'm going to refer to it as BED because saying binge eating disorder takes so much time, and I'm lazy in that respect. Anyway, binge eating disorder is very similar to bulimia nervosa, which is why I'm placing it after bulimia. It's similar because people who suffer with BED will frequently participate in episodes of binging. However, the major difference between BED and bulimia nervosa is that people who suffer with BED will not then participate in weight gain preventative measures such as purging or excessive exercise. Because of this factor, people with BED tend to look overweight or obese, and the health concerns that come along with BED are very similar for people that simply are suffering with obesity or just being overweight. Those health concerns include high blood pressure, higher cholesterol levels, the possibility for gallbladder disease, and a higher probability that those sufferers will develop type 2 diabetes. While binge eating disorder does not involve purging or excessive exercise, it does not mean it's less serious than bulimia nervosa, and treatment is definitely necessary in order for the sufferers to overcome their mental illness. Next, I'm going to be briefly discussing EDNOS, which is also known as eating disorder not otherwise specified. EDNOS is actually an umbrella term for several other eating disorders that don't meet the criteria in the DSM-4 and DSM-5 for anorexia, bulimia, or binge eating disorder. This eating disorder is not talked about enough, and it really should be, because it actually has a higher mortality rate than bulimia does. This is all I'm going to say on this subject for now, but if you want me to do a more in-depth video on this eating disorder, or in fact any other eating disorder I mention in this video, please leave it in the comments down below. Lastly, I'll be discussing the eating disorder anorexia nervosa. Anorexia nervosa is different than the other eating disorders I've already mentioned because I personally struggle with it. Anorexia nervosa is the deadliest eating disorder and also the deadliest mental illness in general. Anorexia nervosa tends to affect the bright, the intelligent, and the perfectionistic. These sufferers tend to restrict food intake and also exercise a lot in order to lose a significant and noticeable amount of weight. These sufferers tend to have low self-esteem when it comes to their bodies, and eventually, as the eating disorder progresses, they'll eventually be unable to see the severity of the illness because they're so invested in it. Their obsession and control of food makes them feel in control, when, in reality, the eating disorder is actually controlling them. Like any other eating disorder I've already talked about, there are several health consequences that come with it. These health consequences include osteoporosis, low blood pressure, weakening and then loss of muscle, abnormally slow heart rate, brittle and yellowing nails, dry skin and hair, and like any other eating disorder, it can cause death. I'm now going to be discussing my own story with anorexia nervosa so that you can tell that I understand where you guys are coming from if you also suffer from an eating disorder. I have had body image issues ever since I was in about 2nd grade. This is because I used to be known as the skinny one. I still am today, but I remember one day when my friends were over at my house, we were talking about some new students that came into our grade, and they started to say how skinny they were, and, I was like, I thought I was the skinniest, but they're like, you're still very, very skinny, but these 2 girls are skinnier than you are. I remember that affected me a lot, but luckily I was naive enough not to actually really attempt to become the skinniest again. I didn't start to diet or do anything. This thought always remained in the back of my head ever since 2nd grade, but nothing ever started to change with my diet or food intake until I was a sophomore. Throughout the next couple of years and still now, there are just periods where it becomes more intense and periods when it's not as intense. I would say right now, I'm currently in a middle ground with it. It's not super severe. I'm definitely eating and but I still I keep track of the calories, and definitely when I'm exercising I do think about the fact that I might start to lose weight and I'm burning calories by doing this. And that definitely is a motivation for me to go to the gym every day. Not the only one. I'm definitely trying to become stronger because I like doing gymnastics and trying to improve my overall flexibility and trying to increase my lean muscle mass, definitely. And I'm definitely being healthy when it comes to the exercise and the eating because afterwards they are telling you that you should be having protein after you exercise, and I'm definitely doing that by eating a protein bar, so in that way I'm doing good things. But definitely food is constantly on my mind, and I'm always somewhat planning my day around food and what I'm eating, and that kind of thing. And there definitely are days where it's more severe than others. But yeah, I'm definitely still struggling with it, and I don't want it to go away, so I'm definitely not telling people about it as much, just because I don't want it to go away. It's almost a comfort, even though I hate it at the same time. But that's pretty much an overview of kind of my struggle with it. And yeah, again, if you want me to go more in depth and be really specific, comment down below and I will definitely be open to doing that. So that's about it with that, and now I'm going to get into treatment options for eating disorders. Because eating disorders are so serious and can be fatal, people should get treatment for them ASAP. If you notice a friend or family member, or yourself personally, are starting to display signs of an eating disorder, it is important to get treatment. If you're still healthy and the eating disorder is not that bad, I would suggest getting a counselor to tackle the psychological effects and the reason why you might have started to develop an eating disorder. And in conjunction with that, I would also recommend you get a nutritionist and also allow your doctor to monitor your health, like your physical health, so that is also in check. because your physical and mental health are equally important, especially regarding an eating disorder. If the eating disorder has gotten to a more severe level, you may be severely underweight, already have health consequences because of your eating disorder, I would recommend going into a hospital inpatient program or just some other residential program, because if it has gotten to such a severe and serious level, you want to be in a place, first of all, where doctors can monitor you around the clock, but also you're constantly in programs, different programs that help tackle the eating disorder, and you're constantly around it rather than seeing someone once or twice a week. It's just a more intense way to get the help that you need if it has gotten to such a severe level. Also, if any of you guys watching have any input and advice about treatment options, please put them in the comment section down below, because I know that I only went briefly into this topic. And like I said earlier, if you would like me to go more in depth and make a separate video for this topic, I would be happy to do so. Before I end this video, I'm going to leave you guys with a call to action. While it seems that the average person, unless trained in this area, can do nothing to help, I can honestly say that is far from the truth. There is a lot anyone can do to spread awareness about these deadly illnesses and about mental health in general. The first best thing you can do is, if you suspect someone you know is displaying eating disorder symptoms, it is honestly really, really good to help them get help. It'll hopefully lessen the amount of people that succumb to these illnesses every year, which is a huge step in the right direction. The other thing you can do, which is even more important than that, is use your voice. We've been all given this great gift of voices, and by sharing the facts and information I shared in this video, you are spreading more awareness and becoming an advocate for these mental illnesses. That can also lessen the stigma surrounding them. Also, like I said earlier, the money and resources for treatment and research for these illnesses are very slim and sparse. And by being an advocate, you can hopefully increase the level of treatment and the treatment options, and also allow more people to research these illnesses and how the brain can be involved, and many other things. That's only one example I can give you. And I'm also really sorry that this is much less practiced and it's more off the cuff, like my story was. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it informative and interesting. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up, and if you want to see more of me, Alyssa, please hit that red subscribe button down below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day. Bye!